When you create a plan for your habits, you are simply much more likely to keep on doing them. In the words of Robert Schuller, spectacular achievement is always preceded by unspectacular preparation. In this video, I'm talking about a key part of habit building that I think is under-discussed, under-talked about, that should be done every time you go to pursue a new habit. This is an exercise that will make your habits more sustainable. Every time you start a new habit, you are making a promise to yourself, and there is something magical about keeping your promises. Even when the promise is as small as taking your vitamins every day, I believe that every single time you follow through and you take those vitamins, you are saying something about who you are as a person. And by completing the exercise that I'm going to talk about in this video, you're making it that much more likely that you follow through on your promises. This video is actually an excerpt from my new class on Skillshare, Designing Habits That Last. This is a class that will walk you through step by step designing a new habit. And this is designing a habit in a way that embraces all of the values that I talk about all the time on this channel. Self-compassion, sustainability. You're getting intentional about building a habit plan that works for your mind, that works for you personally. If you have tried to create habits before but just haven't found yourself successful, if you are in the midst of creating a habit but you find that you're skipping days and you're not quite keeping up with it, or if in the new year you have a bunch of habits that you want to embrace, this is the class for you. And of course, this video itself is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is an amazing online learning community with thousands of classes for creators. You can explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in creativity on Skillshare. Not only are there classes on things like productivity and habit building by creators like Ali Abdaal and Thomas Frank, there are also a bunch of other classes on things like watercolor. Me and my sister learned to paint these beautiful watermelons in one of their watercolor painting classes. There are classes on things like InDesign. I taught myself how to use InDesign by using solely the resources on Skillshare. Right now, I am loving the class on Skillshare titled Sketchbook Illustration for All. Draw Your Day with Watercolor and Pen by Samantha Dion Baker. This is an exercise that's quite meditative, quite reflective, and I just really like it as a journaling alternative when I'm not feeling like writing. Skillshare is curated specifically for learning, so there are absolutely no advertisements, and there are premium classes being launched all of the time, like my own excellent class that you're gonna love. That way you can stay focused and follow wherever your creativity takes you. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description down below will get their first 1 month of Skillshare for free, so you can get creating today. And if you are in the mood to start building new habits, or you simply just want to bookmark my habit building class ready for your New Year's planning session, because it's gonna help you, click the link down in the description below. And without further ado, here is just a small part of my class on Skillshare around designing habits that last. In the lifestyle design thinking world, they promote the Odyssey plan, maintaining that one of the best ways to design your life is to design your lives. Instead of creating one ultimate vision for your life, the Odyssey plan encourages you to create 3 different visions. And this isn't a tiered situation. Each vision is a vision that appeals to you, that you're interested in pursuing. Of course, you can only live out one vision at a time, but this is an exercise in creative thinking and problem solving. It gets you out of the very narrow frame that you often have when it comes to thinking about your future. And the same applies to your habits. Often when you're thinking about your habits, you have a very narrow frame of what they're going to look like. For example, you decide that you are going to get healthy, and your brain latches onto the idea that the only way to get healthy is to show up to the gym at 6 a.m. every morning for a 1-hour workout. But in reality, going to the gym at 6 a.m. may be a terrible way to achieve your goal of getting healthy. If you're an intense introvert that doesn't like the idea of seeing people at 6 a.m. in the morning, that's not going to be sustainable. If you're a night owl and most of your energy comes to you at night, it's going to be hard to sustain a habit of a 6 a.m. gym workout. The goal of getting healthy can be achieved in so many ways outside of waking up at 6 a.m. and going to the gym, but because of your narrow frame when it came to your habit, you lost out on an opportunity to get to know yourself better and to learn how to get healthy in a way that works for your mind and for your body. The great thing about reimagining your habit is that you also step into an experimentation and learning mindset. The first version of your habit might be to brain dump for 10 minutes of a morning time. But if after performing that for a little while, you find that it just leads to rumination and upset, you could move on to the second imagined version of your habit to see if that's a better fit. A lot of research has been done on performance-only goals versus learning goals. So for example, a goal of going to the gym 5 times per week versus a goal of learning how to best move your body in a way that is enjoyable and sustainable. Unsurprisingly, if you're approaching your habit with curiosity and with an open mind, you are much more likely to be successful and to sustain your habit. And by mapping out multiple futures for your habits, you're opening your mind and you're almost creating an explorer's approach when it comes to your habit building process. If you haven't already, you want to get specific and you want to get actionable when it comes to writing down your habits. For example, if you are working on the habit of journaling, you might write down something like, each morning I get up, I pull out my notebook, and I write my 3 stream of consciousness morning pages. You want to almost get visual when it comes to your description of you performing your habit. Get into the nitty-gritty detail. As you write down the second version of your habit, imagine that that first version is off the table. It's no longer accessible to you. What do you do instead? For example, for the second version of a journaling habit, you might write, each night before I go to bed, I write down 10 things that I'm grateful for. For the third version of your habit, once again, imagine that those first 2 options are off the table. They have been removed as options. How do you approach your habit differently? It might be a different time, but it could also be in a completely different way. So for a third version of your journaling habit, you might write down, each morning I get up, I set a 10-minute timer, and I journal on my goals and my vision. Please use these as examples only. As you're writing out the different futures for your habit, think about you specifically, what you're drawn towards, what you're most interested in, what is most sustainable for you. There are some habits that are a bit more stagnant that are harder to apply this activity to. For example, taking your vitamins every morning or drinking a certain amount of water. There are a few little different ways to switch it up, but keep in mind that those habits probably don't give you as many options as habits like exercise or journaling. In your workbook, you're going to see a space where you can rate each version of your habits on 3 factors. Firstly, resources. Do you have the time, the skills, the money to perform your habit in this way? Secondly, appeal. How much does performing your habit in this way appeal to you? And thirdly, sustainability. How confident do you feel that you could sustain this habit? Rate each version of your habit and then choose the version of your habit that has the best rating. If you enjoyed this video, you're absolutely going to enjoy my Skillshare class on designing habits that last. That is going to be linked in the description down below. But if you're simply in the mood to just keep on taking in more free information on YouTube, I'm going to have a link on the screen to one of my videos around designing your goals. This is one of my most valuable videos that I have ever made, to the point where I've been like, should I keep this up? I'm not sure. And I know that's saying a lot, but so much knowledge has been put into that video and it's taken me years to learn all of the information in that video. So I'm gonna have that video linked on the screen, and I think that you guys will enjoy it if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoy habits, if you enjoy goal setting, if you're prepping yourself for the new year, which is coming up so quickly. That video will be linked on the screen as well as down below. I appreciate you so bloody much, and I will see you soon.